Niki Hayley has left Trump's side. Now I look at all these Republicans as being soulless ghouls that will basically change direction on a whim to suit their political objectives. Because objectives are not about creating a better world for people. The objectives are about, fossil fuels, denying climate change, denying reality. That's the job of the Republican Party today, this modern era. So Niki Hayley wants to move away from Trump. She says that, Trump should not have, he let us down. I don't think so. I think Trump was a criminal, and I think he was exactly what they wanted. They got in bed with a racist, with a bigot, with someone who would give them the type of political rhetoric that they wanted. Whoops! Got a pandemic. Whoops! Got all these wildfires. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So Trump didn't take it seriously. He didn't. In fact, he made a lot of it worse. I don't want to hear that bullshit from Niki Hayley or from anybody else saying that COVID, that Trump made a mistake or he let us wrong. I don't want to hear that shit. Trump is a criminal. It's important to put that out there. These crackers wasted 3 months on this pandemic. We could have paid these businesses off, shut the fucking businesses down. We could have worn masks. This thing would have been over with. What did Trump do? Wasted 3 months. Then he called it a Democrat hoax. Kung flu. Called it a flu for months. Which basically tainted the waters, because what that really showed you was Operation Warp Speed, was never about science, and it was never about rationally dealing with it, with COVID. It was all about making mockery of it, making mockery of who die of it, making mockery of the seriousness of it, and then making mockery of Dr. Fauci himself, to where Fauci actually got an envelope of white powder to his house. So I hold Trump responsible. Period. Trump is a criminal. His administration was one of criminals. It was not one of legitimate leadership. I want to be careful what I say here. It's about politics. I'm talking about reasonable, legitimate leadership. Trump had none of that. Trump didn't even want that. So, I don't want to hear that bullshit. I don't want to sit here and pretend about it. I ain't interested in it. I don't want to hear it. Trump made all of us less safe. And what's worse, this is what's bad is, it's almost like this era of disaster that Trump's got us in, it's like Republicans really want that. It's almost like Republicans want everybody to not have power. They run around with their guns in their vests and do shit. I kind of understand that now, that we want peace. We want a better society. We want to nip coronavirus in the bud. We want to have a pandemic response team. And I realize now that Republican Party now, post-Trump, that's not what they are. One of, reasonable government where science leads the way, and hey, if something happens, Republicans are willing to put stuff aside for the good of the people. That's not what Republican Party post-Trump is about. Their party is about cruelty, and it's about blaming everything on the Green New Deal, and it's about cruelty. It's about nastiness. It's about viciousness. And it's a party that devalues human life. What happened when they used the Green New Deal as an excuse for what happened in Texas with power being out, in effect, was passing the buck. And it was acting in bad faith. It's important to remember that. For me, whether it's that, whether it's the mayor in Colorado, Texas, who was talking about how, God gave us this, and this is all because of socialism, or Rick Perry talking about the left not taking over it. This is all about these crackers basically being more concerned about losing political power than they are about saving lives. I cannot, in good faith, argue with that kind of a person. I'm not going to, and you shouldn't either. These are people that will sacrifice lives in order to maintain the status quo. I've never thought that way. And that's the difference between us. I'm sorry. That's the difference between us and Republicans, is that I am not willing to sacrifice human life in order to push political gain. I'm not. I am not. That's not what I'm doing. I don't ever been that way. I don't think anybody around me's been that way. I don't think like that. What I told you guys in my various videos I've released is that that's what these ghouls in Texas want. They want no government. They want little government. That's what they say. Every 8 years, 4 years, somebody want to secede from the United States. Hey, this is what you crackers want, right? You want anarchy. You want liberty. Hey, that's your liberty. Listen, you are free. You're free to be poor. You're free to not have power. You're free to not have running water. And like I talked about it in the video when I talked about militants and mercenary groups, well, I talked about the possibility of domestic terrorism in America. I don't have a thought that I'm going to be able to get these people on my side. I don't. What I have the thought of is that if you're a domestic terrorist and you're out here trying to wage war on the government and we shut the power down in your area, there's a weak link in your life that will talk. I guarantee it. There's somebody around you that sitting around playing video games 7 hours a day and eating pizza and stuff. They're not giving it up because you want to be a racist. Like I always say, you can be a racist, but do you hate me so much you want to lose everything you have? Do you hate me so much you won't let your children starve? Do you hate me so much you won't be out there with no running water? If you don't, you ain't talking about nothing. What happened in Texas is an example of that. It's an example of they want liberty, they want less government, but they don't even know what the hell it is. They want to talk about training bathrooms and call everybody a pedophile and talk about Mexicans being rich. They want to talk about that. I don't want to try to make people laugh. I want to make people's lives better. And I believe in a robust sense in the public good. They don't. What happened with the blackouts in Texas is an embarrassment and it is an outrage. And in a reasonable society, people will be outraged by that. Unfortunately, the world move on. People are going to forget about COVID. They're going to forget about COVID. They're going to forget about the blackouts in Texas. They're going to forget about Harvey. They're going to forget about all these things. They're going to go back to who's playing ball, what games on TV. And that's why I said, maybe they got to be hurt. Maybe you ghouls, maybe you crackers got to be hurt to realize you need infrastructure. You need to put money aside. You need to have things set aside to protect the people when there is a disaster. And that should not be controversial to say that. It should not be socialism thrown at me when I simply say, hey, we should not have people out here without running water. That's an embarrassment. I just look at it as basically Texas abdicating being a civilized state. I mean, I said often that if people want to move to these areas, I'm fine with that. And I mean that. If you want to be a redneck and live in those areas, I'm fine with that. I don't care. Guys, I don't care.